Folks, welcome to Three Questions, sponsored by the Democrats' Washington State 18th Legislative District. I'm your host, Wil Fuentes. Folks, my guest today is Randi Knott, who is a candidate for the 18th Legislative District State Representative Position 1, and will be running against the current incumbent State Rep, Stephanie McClintock. Randi, welcome to the show. Question number one, how are you, first of all?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the temporary spring we've got. How are you?
Oh, you know, I'm doing. It's amazing. By the way, there's people out there walking, riding their kids, riding their bikes. It is a beautiful day. But here's the thing. Here's what we're here for. We want to know who you are, and from my understanding, is you're running for a state legislative office. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Randi Knott,
Yeah.
Randi with an I, which I say about 30 times a day.
Okay.
And I am running for Legislative District 18 for State Rep for position number 1 against the incumbent Stephanie McClintock.
Okay. All right. Tell me more. Tell me more. What motivated you to want to run for this position?
Well, part of it was a bumper sticker my daughter gave me that said voting more effective than bitching on the internet.
Yeah.
So that was part of it, but I needed to do more than that. Honestly, I spent most of my career in public policy, working for cities, working with the state, a little dabble in private and nonprofit, but for the most part for the public sector. Every bill that came to me, it was my job to analyze, see whether it made sense, see whether it could be implemented, and see if it was what the people really wanted. I retired fairly young for being too ethical.
Okay.
And I'm not done yet. I'd like to use my powers of persuasion, my understanding of the system to serve the people of the 18th.
Randi, I love that. Question number 2. Randi, let's delve a little bit deeper on why you're running for this specific office. And yeah, just tell me. Let me know what's going on.
Well, I've seen a lot of things not happening with the legislature. I see a lot of problems, and I think there are solutions. I currently serve on the Clark County Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board. I'm
That's right.
one of your appointees. And I learned that we are 33rd in the nation after Mississippi on serving people with developmental disabilities.
33rd in the nation. Randi.
33rd in the nation. I'm an autism mom, and if you don't know, that's a polar bear with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And I really feel that our system needs more. Our whole education system needs more, but in particular, our special education in this state is concerning. Did you know you can still use chemical restraint on children?
I had no idea.
Yes,
I had
there's
no
a
clue.
bill that would reduce it so that you can't use it for 5th graders and younger. It should be abolished in the first place.
Wow.
So there are some immediate guttural things that made me want to do this.
Yeah. We'll get into your top priorities in a moment, but you mentioned that education specifically for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities is a big concern with you, right? Tell me a little bit more, why is that so near and dear to you?
Well, I have a child with autism. She's a young adult now. I hate to let her grow up, but
course.
so it goes. And we were told she'd never speak, never potty train, set up a supported living account. I didn't like that answer.
Yeah.
I spent 15 years on the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. We got every service that we needed in the state that she grew up in. And she just recently graduated from college at the top of her class.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is, and
Yeah.
I want to see more results like that. Everybody's journey is different, I get that.
Yeah.
But if we shifted some of the funding we spend on supported employment and put it in early intervention, we might see a lot more successes.
Absolutely. I'm so mind blown. 33rd in the nation.
33rd
You said after Mississippi.
That's embarrassing.
That is. Something needs to be done, and I'm glad you're that person to address that issue.
Thank you.
Question number 3. Now, Randi, we talked a little bit about one of the issues that you care very much about. Let's talk a little bit about your top 3 priorities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Affordability. I know it's a buzzword right now, but we really need to look at every piece of legislation that comes through and give it an affordability test.
Yeah.
If it doesn't meet that test, it's got to wait. We need to look at what we've got, rearrange our priorities, and go from there. So that is extremely important to me, that we are keeping things affordable. Did you know that the average price of a home in Clark County is over $500,000?
I did know that, and it is out of reach for a lot of community members.
Completely,
Yeah.
and that puts generational wealth out of reach. That keeps your children from moving back here when they're done with college and living here. You need to have a $180,000 income to qualify for a mortgage for the average home here.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to see that change. I think it's really, really important. Additionally, protecting mail-in voting. We've
Okay.
seen a lot of threats at the
Yes.
federal level, and we have an excellent system here in Washington, and we need to keep it that way. It helps seniors, it helps working parents, it helps people with disabilities, people who otherwise would not be able to vote if they didn't have mail-in voting. So that is extremely important to me, to ensure that everybody's voice is being heard.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and what's your third priority?
My third priority,
Yeah.
there's so many.
Yeah.
I think our tax system is very regressive.
Okay.
I support the millionaire's tax. I think it's a good start.
Yeah.
I think we have to find a way to make sure that people feel comfortable knowing that what the legislature is doing is actually going to help and not hurt them. And that's a huge piece of it, because we need to fund schools. We just saw the battleground levy fail.
Right.
And
For
that
the third time.
for the third time.
Yeah.
That's not the way to fund schools. We
Right.
can't let these kids down. And right now, the district is scrambling, the community's scrambling, and I don't know that there's a way to fix it at the local level. I think there's a way to fix it at the state level.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. Now, you mentioned your three priorities. Affordability is a big issue. $550,000, the average price of a home in Clark County. In addition, we have one of the highest rates of evictions in the state of Washington. Clark County does. You also
Doesn't
mentioned
help the homeless problem.
No, it does not. Absolutely not. It increases it, right? And that's a big concern of mine, that we're going to start seeing an increase of unhoused community members, our neighbors, our family and
Exactly.
friends. And then, the third priority mentioned, Randy, was that you support the millionaire tax, right? Because we have regressive taxes here in the state of Washington. Can you talk just a little bit more about the millionaire tax?
Absolutely. We saw Governor Ferguson speak recently at the Kiggins, and I think he had a great explanation. And that is, this tax doesn't apply until you make up to $1 million,
Right.
and then whatever's above that gets taxed. I know there are small family businesses that they're worried about gross income. All of those deductions will still be there.
Right.
So there is a safety net. If you are actually grossing or netting over $1 million, you can probably afford to pay a little bit more. When I walk into a store to buy a thing of chicken,
Yeah.
it affects me differently than it affects younger people,
Right.
people with lower incomes, and we need to make that more fair. Sales tax is extremely regressive.
It is, and thank you so much for explaining a little bit about that and going deeper into what the millionaire. I think there was some confusion out there of how that tax was going to work. So absolutely, and I support it as well. So
Yeah, good,
yeah.
good. Well, and there's a lot of misinformation coming out from the Republicans right now.
Yeah.
Same kind of misinformation that made the levy fail in Battleground.
Absolutely.
They actually sent out a mailer telling people not to vote for it. That's why I'm so disappointed in our current representatives, because they could have helped,
Yeah.
and they served to hurt, and that's a problem.
Well, Randy, I'm excited for you running for this position, and remind us again what position you're running for.
I am running for state representative in the 18th Legislative District, Position 1.
Position 1. And so thank you so much for being on our show today. We are excited. I know that the Democrats are energized, and we're there to support you.
Thank you
thanks,
so
Randy.
much. It's a
Appreciate
pleasure.
It. Absolutely. Folks, that is our show for today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We'll see you next time.